September 21st, 1941. If last week the Bryansk front escaped the Bryansk-Oryol pocket by a miracle, this week there is no more sight of such miracle. Actually, what the Stavka sees is just an enormous gap between the Bryansk and Central fronts, with nearly no reserves available to close it. The road to Tula is therefore virtually undefended, and the flat terrain could allow Guderian's 2nd Panzer Group to march unopposed into the city already next week. And to make things even worse, there is one more additional bad news for the Soviet High Command this week. This week, the German 20th Motorized Infantry Division has taken control of Kalinin. Howdy folks, welcome back to the channel and welcome to a new weekly episode of War in the East 2, the online game challenge. And oh my god, this week again, I don't want to waste too much time in discussing about what's happening, but I think I have to, because there are three major important developments on the Eastern Front, at least north of Kursk. First thing first, the garrison at Vyazma. The garrison at Vyazma has been defeated quite brutally, to be honest, and quite unexpectedly. Because if I look at the battle, at the battles in and around Vyazma, okay, in many areas my units surrendered. But interestingly, what I noticed is that in the Battle of Vyazma itself, the garrison was forced to retreat by the attack of these two powerful infantry divisions. And then I assumed that the garrison retreated into this hex, because in this hex the garrison held out against two attacks coming from the 7th Infantry Division, reinforced in this case also by a Stug battalion, but then it gave up when it faced the 20th Panzer Division. Now, what I think, so my hopes were that the enemy would surround Vyazma and would slam his head against the fortified city, which I was planning to resupply from the air for as many turns as possible. What happened is that I believe my opponent left this hex here as friendly controlled. I mean, friendly for me, so that when he attacked the garrison in Vyazma, the garrison retreated here, so that later he could just hammer it with the 7th Infantry Division and with the 20th Panzer Division. Which I must confess, it's a pretty unexpected strategy. I was not thinking about it, but yeah, of course, this happens when you face a human opponent. That it's unpredictable, and even if you have a plan, your opponent can be smarter than you, and he can just let's say trash your plan and bring the plan of his own, like this one, to exploit this mechanic of the game that if you have a surrounded unit, isolated units, and a friendly controlled hex nearby, the units will retreat into this hex, and this is pretty smart. And this is why I am scared to see this, because now I'm hoping that the garrison in Vyazma, in Bryansk, sorry, can do its job, but I fear it will not. I fear it will not. I fear this next week it will be just a deja vu of what happened in Vyazma here. So yeah, this is what I'm concerned about, that I did all of this effort for nothing. Maybe not for nothing, because now I'm forcing him to tie down at least two. I guess these are infantry divisions, maybe more, I don't know. Maybe this one here as well, I don't know. I will tie down his infantry for one more week, and then his infantry will replace his motorized units and he can resume the offensive. Which is scary. And about the offensive, he attacked me in this wide arch between Mchensk and Kursk, and he took Oryol. He took Oryol again with a brutal attack by the 10th Motorized and the 3rd and the 4th Panzer Divisions against only one rifle division. And what I don't like about this development is that he now controls the line between the Oka, Mchensk, and Novozil and Livny. He can easily reach Tula, and I say, in the short term, he can exert pressure on these units here, maybe forcing me to retreat from the Oka River. Then he will threaten Tula, and if he outflanks Tula from the left, he can force me to abandon Tula behind the Oka River, and he can take Tula, which is a juicy victory point, and also Ryazan, another juicy victory point. Maybe I'm just overthinking, maybe I'm too pessimistic, maybe, I don't know, maybe he doesn't have the troops to push towards Tula, but this is scary for me. Because here there is all this, let's call it a panzer-friendly terrain that he can use to just march on Moscow, maybe not unopposed, but with some relative ease. Yeah. Besides that, besides the crisis in the Bryansk front, I also have the crisis in the reserve front, because this week I assume the 20th Motorized Infantry Division entered Kalinin without a shot being fired. And I have to say, I am really impressed by his disposition of the units, because he now has these 2 regiments of the 20th, and he controls these 3 hexes here. Now, even if I march here, or even if I use the cavalry, like, I cannot enter Kalinin because of the river and because of the zone of control exerted by these 2 units. I must say, this is really smart. I would have never done it like that, but I mean, I think he risked, he gambled again, and he won the gamble. So, yeah, that's it. Let's say, so the overall strategy is to maybe rearrange a bit the troops here in Leningrad and in the northwestern front, protect this, like, shield the fungus of Kalinin, especially the region here, since he also attacked me this level 3 fortification, and he just forced this battalion to surrender, which is pretty bad, because he can then use the motorized units here to advance from Moscow from the north, just like the Germans were doing in real life. I need to pull back from this line, from this salient here. It's pointless. I need to reinforce the Bryansk front, and yeah, for this episode I think it is enough, so to speak. So, briefly, events: we have the rough raids in 1941, the Sorg aspiring, and the Soviet partisans. Let's say, yeah, the only good news that I have for me this week is that I do not have the event, the Luftwaffe rules the skies. This is the last turn in which this event could have fired. It did not fire, so I am incredibly relieved, because I know I will never have to face this horrendous restriction in movement points and interdiction in freight distribution. I think it was timed, a very well timed move to move the reserves to the map, and I might create, train 2 more rifle divisions, just to, prevent the collapse of the front line. In regard to the rifle divisions, let's have a brief look at the losses. Almost 255,000 losses, 67,000 on the map, and almost 155,000 in the theater boxes. Curiously, also the Axis is now starting to suffer quite, let's say, intensively. And regarding the more specific losses, we have over 26,000 for a total of 324. Sorry, I need to silence this. Yeah, sorry. And yeah, so 324,000, and while I lost 254,000 for a total of almost 3 million of manpower losses. Air losses, only 3 planes for him and 90 for me, so pretty 30-to-1 ratio. And if we have a look at the on map order of battle, yeah, as I said, my order of battle was going up, down, and now it's going down, down, and maybe it will go even down next week. I mentioned the creation of 2 rifle divisions. This is because when I was having a look at the transfer, I noticed one thing, that on turn 28, if I look at the disbandment, there will be like a crap ton of units disappearing from the map. Let me see how many. So 99 units, and if I look just at the divisions, like 61 divisions, and these are mostly rifle yes, let's say one is a mechanized division and the others are all rifle divisions, militia rifle and rifle divisions. 61. Boy, this is gonna hurt. Like, it's almost right now. It's almost at 390,000. It will be even more with the reinforcements arriving to this unit. But boy, this is scary. This is horrendously scary. So I will have to raise some new rifle divisions. Also because we have no in-house rules. We cannot transfer units, but I still have the power of raising fresh rifle divisions from scratch. And I would say that's enough for this long introductory talk. Yeah, I would say enough talking now, folks. And as always, it's time to jump straight into the episode. Alright, folks, so for this, let's say, brief commentary on this episode, I want to say a couple of things on the movement of the rifle divisions, first of all. I know that it is very early, but given the imminent mud season, I wanted to start also grouping together the rifle divisions that will be merged into their historical rifle corps, starting ready from this turn. This will be, maybe I mentioned it in the previous episode, but this will be a very time-consuming process, so get ready, because you will see me doing this, I would say, every turn, starting from this one. And while, say, the second thing that I wanted to comment on is that while I was looking at the front line, I noticed one thing. In many areas of the front, the Germans are now regimenting their units. Now, regimenting units against a human opponent is probably the last thing that you want to do while digging in, because this is just, let's say, an invitation for your opponents, or me in this case, to just attack and put pressure in those sectors. And if I'm starting to know my opponent based on what he has been doing over the past 13 turns, I can expect his next, let's say, his next offensive, where he has non-regimented infantry divisions. I don't think I showed it, but I had a look briefly before starting the scenario. This scenario, the recording of this episode. But I noticed that he always likes to attack with the infantry, which makes sense actually. It makes pretty sense. And once the infantry has cleared the path for the panzers and the motorized infantry, then only then his mobile units are kind of racing forward. And I'm saying this in regard to what happened at Kalinin, where I saw his 20th motorized infantry division just kind of mocking me and saying, "Hey, look where I am now." And yeah. Besides that, yeah, I'm expecting. So I don't know if he will push again before the end of September, but I'm afraid that yeah, he might do one more push. And my bet is that he will try to surround Tula. On one hand, I see a mass of infantry divisions literally west of the Western Front, so he might use this as a, let's say, breaching a mass, and then he might use his Panzer divisions, which are now being regimented, and which somehow they have not been fused together, they've not been merged together into real divisions. So I'm wondering what his plan with his Panzer units are. Yeah, they've not been merged because yeah, they're still holding the line, and yeah, maybe he was not expecting me. He was not expecting my units to collapse so fast, but yeah, I was really surprised that he didn't remerge his mobile units. And concerning the situation, let's say, south of Tula, this is really scary because on one hand, he might push around Tula to take Tula and then maybe project, let's say, a potential offensive against Ryazan and from there against Moscow, or he might just create an enormous salient ranging from Kalinin, Vyazma, Oryol, Tula, and Ryazan. and with this gigantic salient, okay, he will be forced to sacrifice many troops, but he might exert some pressure in 1942, yeah, to maybe conquer Moscow. So he might, maybe I'm speculating, I'm thinking wild, but he might create this huge salient, and then easily, or maybe not easily, but relatively quickly, take control of Moscow before shifting the bulk of his forces in the south. I don't know. I'm just going wild now with my imagination. Time will tell what will happen, but for sure now this week I need to focus on rallying the men of the Bryansk front, and I have to hope that this new thin and weak defensive line will hold. I'm sure it will not hold, but you know, hope is the last to die. And well, folks, thank you very much for watching. Thank you very much for supporting the channel. I wish you all the best, but as always, stay tuned because there is one more episode for this turn.